Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Fronti.
And speaking of reports, we were just talking a little bit about inspectors and reports. And during the break, we were discussing what are the differences between inspectors. And obviously, just
they're
like
all the same, right?
Right?
All of them. Just like lenders. All the mortgage planners are all the same. Even those guys that just answer the phone and don't know how to actually run numbers.
We can debunk all those lender myths one other day, but today let's debunk.
Just a rumor.
Let's debunk home inspections today. So tell us a little bit about the differences, right? The difference in quality, the difference between a large inspection company and a boutique inspection company. Give us a little background on that. What do you see in the street?
I think most people, when it comes to hiring an inspector, they want to feel some sort of comfortable situation with them, where it's warm and fuzzy, you might say. They want to feel that they're going to learn something, because that's really what it's all about. The home inspector is there as your neutral third party who is going to tell you what they see from safety and functionality issues, and is hopefully they're going to educate you as opposed to trying to throw kerosene on the fire, because that doesn't create any resolutions there. We want people to be educated. I think from my standpoint, and talking to other inspectors, you get that phone call that if I had known this about the house, I wouldn't have bought it. Well, that's where the inspector's job is, to educate the client and make sure they do have a fair understanding as to what the condition of the house is. We're not there to condemn a house. We're there to educate.
Right.
And there's a lot of inspectors out there that take the opportunity, because they have the power at that time to kind of stir the pot, you might say. Well, that's not what our job is. Our job is not to talk about the price of the home or the marketability. That's the job of the real estate agent. Mm-hmm. The realtor, that's their position. Our job is to just look at safety issues and functionality issues. Does the house function as it was designed, or are there deferred maintenance issues that need to be taken care of? So you need to have an inspector that is somebody that you can rely on. And sometimes if you've got a company that's got a lot of multiple inspector firms, some of them have great people, but you never know who you're going to get. Some of the agencies out there, you probably have a little bit better of a conception as far as who they're going to be sending out, but if it's too large of a company, you may not know who you're getting.
Yeah, well, we know we're getting Bob Geyer with Geyer Inspections, LLC. If you're just tuned in to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show, Bob Geyer is one of very experienced, almost 20 years experience, and sharing with you the ins and outs of home inspections. When you purchase a home, you always want to get it inspected, and you need a true professional. Bob's going into the details that you probably don't know, because they aren't all the same, right, Gino?
No, absolutely not. And over my years in real estate, I know that very few people go into the detail that Bob does. In fact, almost every single time, and I'm going to use the word almost just because there's someone that listens to our show that doesn't like it when I say every time. I know Bob is on the property longer than the average agent, right? And in fact, I was lucky enough to have Bob inspect my property recently, and sure enough, we were getting phone calls while we were there. Why are you still there? Why haven't you guys left? Is something wrong? We need to get back in the house. Hey, I've done inspections before, and we're talking about, it wasn't abnormal. We were there for 4 hours. It's a large home. It wasn't abnormal at all. But that's someone who's in the industry, accustomed to having people come in and out of the home within 2 hours. And my personal opinion is I want my inspector to be there as long as they feel necessary. And there may be homes that they could do in 2 hours, but there may be homes where they feel like there's more because there's an item that they were concerned about.
It's a good point. If you were to take a look at kind of even a checklist of all of the systems and the things, if you did it by room, especially when you get into kitchens and bathrooms and garages and all of the different mechanical systems, typically you're in the range of around 500 items, 600 items. And if you spent anywhere from a half a minute to a minute, and that's kind of skinny on the time there, and just did the math on that, you're going to spend 3 to 4 hours. So myself, and talking to a lot of the inspectors in our chapter, They just don't understand how somebody could go in an hour and a half and do an inspection. It's an impossibility to do it if you're going to be doing a complete inspection. And if you're there representing the buyer, it's your fiduciary duty. We know that term,
Right.
to represent that buyer to the fullest.
That's a good point, because that's a question. If you have a home inspector that is chosen for you, or you pulled out of the book, ask them how long they plan to be there. I mean, if they say less than 3.5, 4 hours, they
Red
tell you
flag.
an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Red
Find
flag number
someone else.
one.
Seriously, just you have the option. You do not have to just go with the flow. We talk about that too when appraisers go out, or choosing the right real estate person, choosing the right lender. This is the biggest asset and debt you will probably have in your life. It is imperative to find the right professionals to make sure you go down the right path. And we've heard horror stories all the time about how somebody purchases a home, and sure enough, something comes up that should have been found in the inspection.
Yes.
That is detrimental and expensive to them in many cases.
That's a great point, Don, is you want to make sure that it's expensive or inexpensive. And I know that it's your job, Bob, to evaluate if something works or not, regardless of the cost. But if my inspector missed that one of the doors doesn't close right and I got to go out and get a $30 door handle at Home Depot, hey, so be it. But if my plumbing doesn't work, or if my windows are broken, or if I had some sort of an electrical issue where it could cost thousands, that's important.
No doubt.
I think the knowledge base too, where you're dealing with somebody that maybe doesn't have the depth of knowledge in all of the systems that you're expected to have a good understanding of. They're afraid to say something because they don't know enough, and you have to be like in any industry or business or profession. If there's something you don't know, you just tell them, I'm going to check into this and I'll get back to you on this. I'll send you an addenda on this. Don't be afraid to say, I'm not sure on that, but I'll find out.
Here's one of those items. I know we don't have a lot of time yet, but I'm going to, if you're watching at donandgino.com, I'm going to dust off an old report I got from Bob probably about 7 or 8 years ago. It says, that particular panel that you have in your house is on recall, and it's caused fires in homes before, so that panel needs to be replaced. And I was
that's
like,
pretty detailed.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to know, too.
And you would think, out of the hundreds of electrical panels made, how did he know that one had to be replaced and it was going to be an issue? If I was looking at the house, the panel looks like it's in working order, I wouldn't be too concerned about it.
But it was in the back of a Pinto. It's going to explode.
It was one of those, for sure.
All right. Please don't go away. You're here with the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We're here with Bob Geyer Inspections. And we have one more segment. We're going to go into what does an inspector actually look at? What should you know about an inspection, because it's imperative. A lot of you are buying homes, probably today. So make sure you stay tuned again to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. We'll be right back.